What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Anime Specialist. So it was a great Fire Force episode. It was really good, man. It was even better than last week's episode, even though last week's episode was pretty good. But yeah, man, it was great. It was my favorite episode of the series so far, I think, because of the 8th company versus the 5th company. And obviously in last week's episode, we saw them setting this up. They were setting up a fight between the 5th company and the 8th company because of this intelligent infernal. The 5th company wanted the infernal to experiment on and everything, and the 8th company had the jurisdiction because they were the one that came to the scene first to defeat the infernal. So they were setting this up since last week's episode. But the thing that I liked the most about this episode was the depth behind the story, because there was something that they were setting up since I think episode 2 with Iris, and now we kind of know what the hell happened with her when she was a kid. So in episode 2 we saw her reaching out to the fire and she was seeing flowers in fire, and then I think it was in last week's episode we saw her with a picture of her when she was a kid with other sisters, in training, I guess. And in this week's episode we saw a flashback with her and quote-unquote Princess Hibana. So I guess they were friends and they were in the same church when they were kids, and there was that sentiment in last week's episode that Iris knew Hibana, so that was confirmed in this week's episode. So the most important thing in the flashback was that Iris and Hibana were kind of friends. It seems like Hibana was kind of her older sister for Iris, and when they were taking the pictures something happened, so we saw that it seems like they had a great relationship with each other, and that when they took the picture something happened. We saw fire, so I guess someone turned into an infernal and burned down the church and killed other sisters. So that's my guess right now. Maybe we'll know more in next week's episode, but that's sad, man. That's really sad. And even Shinra caught Iris crying, and I'm wondering why she was dressed like that. Is that because she was maybe taking a bath or a shower? I don't know, but it wasn't weird, but it was I'm not gonna lie, I like the fan service and everything, but it was interesting that she was wearing that and she's a sister and everything and in the open like that. So I'm wondering why, but yeah, man, it was an interesting backstory. We don't know everything yet, but I liked what we saw right now. Anyway, last week's episode was basically about the 5th company taking the infernal into their own custody, because they want to do experiment and everything and discover more things. And we saw this shot in this week's episode where Hibana was kind of torturing the infernal, she's crazy, man. But anyway, I guess that's one of the way that they're getting information from the infernals or experimenting on it. But yeah, man, like I said, Hibana is crazy, and I kind of understand why, because of the trauma that she had when she was a kid. And this shot right there of her talking to Iris, it's crazy, man. Her face, she looks like a demon. So during the episode, Iris left the church, the 8th company, to go see Hibana because she sees what Hibana is right now, I guess, and she wants her to stop, I think. I have to rewatch this part of the episode because I didn't really care enough about it, but I think it's a really important part of the episode. But anyway, Iris left the 8th company to go see Hibana for a bit, and then Shinra, Maki, and all of them I guess they were kind of worried, so they went to the 5th company, and it was kind of also an excuse to go to the 5th company because they also wanted some of their information, so they kind of raided their headquarters. I thought that shot right there was amazing. Maki, I think Lieutenant Inasa, if I remember well, and Arthur, besides each other, arriving at the Fifth Company's base. I thought that that was an amazing shot. But one of the reason why I liked this week's episode was because of the fights, first of all, and then the way that they were going back and forth in between the fights. So we saw that Maki and Lieutenant Hinasa was fighting someone, and then they went back to Arthur, and then they went back to Hibana talking to Iris and everything. So I like the way that they did that. We didn't really see Captain Obru at the base, so I'm wondering what he's doing. Maybe he's getting some information or something like that. I'm not really sure right now. But Maki and Lieutenant Hinasa was fighting this guy. I don't remember his name, but I know he's a third generation pyrokinetic, and his power was kind of weird. So he was doing bubblegum, and he was putting flammable gas into his zero oxygen bubblegum, which is kind of interesting. So it was kind of a bomb that he was doing, and it was cool, man. I think it was a pretty cool power. But we finally saw really not Captain, Lieutenant Inasa in action, and it's really cool because he's a second generation pyrokinetic, so he can't create fire, but he can control it. And by him using guns, obviously it's a firearm, so it uses kind of fire with the not cannon powder, but I think it's basically that. But yeah, he's controlling the bullets, and he's controlling where it goes, so that's kind of really cool. I think he did some ricochet or something like that, so I thought that it was a pretty cool way of using his second generation pyrokinetic powers with his guns. So he defeated this man pretty easily, man. We even saw Maki and Lieutenant Inasa then defeat the other girls, the right or left-handed women of Hibana pretty easily too. Even one of them was scared to show up because of how strong they were. But then we also saw Arthur versus this Inferno from last week's episode, but he was upgraded, so they had a drug. They had a drug, and that's how he was upgraded, and he was way stronger than he was in last week's episode. This is a great shot in my opinion. I really like it. But yeah, man, they have a drug to make Infernos even stronger, so that's crazy, man. But I guess they know more than we know, or the 8 company knows, so it's interesting. But this is one of the shots that I like the most about the episode from Arthur. And then this shot right there, I think they were amazing shot. Obviously the first shot was even better. So yeah, Arthur was struggling, man. He was getting beat up by the Inferno, obviously because he was drugged and he was way stronger than he was in last week's episode. But one of the reasons why he was getting beat up like that is because he was fighting with his left hand for a reason. I don't know why. Maybe some of you guys can let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I missed something, but that's the reason basically why he was getting beat up like that. So then he changed his sword to his right hand, and he was able to defeat the Inferno easily. So I'm wondering why he was using his left. Maybe he thinks he's stronger than anyone else. He's way stronger than anyone else. Maybe that's what he's thinking. But yeah, man, that's weird. But yeah, it was a great episode overall. I liked it a lot. Just seeing the fifth company have struggled against the 8 company is awesome to me. But the thing that I'm the most interested in is Hibana and Iris, man. I really want to know what's going on with them. We'll see in next week's episode. But Hibana really seems to be angry at maybe not Iris, but the nuns, because when Iris showed up with her nun outfit, obviously Hibana burned it all down, so that was kind of a cool fan service. So anyway, then Hibana covered Iris with one of her own jackets. But yeah, man, I really want to see more of the Hibana and Iris, discussion and everything. They also talked about how Hibana went up the rank pretty fast and pretty easily, and they said that they did that with because she was using illegal tactics or something like that. I'm not really sure, but yeah, man, Hibana is really interesting. I really want to know more about her. Obviously, she's also fan service because check out this shot, man. This is amazing. But yeah, man, it was a great episode, the best episode of the series so far. Fifth Company versus Eighth Company is amazing. They were setting this up in last week's episode, but I didn't know it was coming this fast, But yeah, man, I do Fire Force not Fire Force reviews, but let me know what you thought about this week's episode in the comments down below, and let me know what you think is gonna happen next. I do Fire Force reviews every Friday, so subscribe for that. But I also do other anime related things like Black Clover reviews on Tuesdays, Fire Force and Dr. Stone reviews on Fridays, and then Kimetsu no Yaiba Demon Slayer reviews and One Piece reviews on Saturdays. So stay tuned for that. Like, comment, subscribe. It would help my channel a lot. Follow me at Anime Specialist on Twitter and Instagram. I tweet a lot more right now, so follow me more on Twitter. Just discussing, anime or other subject with you guys is pretty cool. So follow me on my Twitter. But yeah, man, I think I've said everything that I needed to say in this week's review. I can't wait for what's gonna happen in next week's episode because it's gonna be amazing, man. I just want to see how this is gonna develop. But yeah, man, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, man. Anime Specialist out. Peace.